Hello and welcome back to another Ironbark Games devlog. Today I will recap the last video and how I feel that went. I will also give more details about the game and what it's about. A lot of people seem to want to know more. I will also give an update to what's been done and what will be coming soon. So let's get started. So, to recap, we have done some planning, got started in Unity and created a base character with some base mechanics. We also created a simple scene. If you remember, there was a bit of a forest and the player could walk, run, jump, attack, and there was the starts of a shields mechanic. So how do I feel it went? Honestly, I didn't expect to reach many people outside of friends and family. However, I reached a lot more people than that, with 140 subscribers and more than 3,000 views in the last 3 weeks. There were also a few people starting to trickle into the Discord, which is great to see. This has really inspired me to continue to make more videos and get one out ahead of my original schedule. There was a fair bit of feedback on the video, and I would like to address these where possible. I mentioned in a few replies that my video was really focused on just getting something out, and wasn't really expecting many views. But here were the main suggestions. I think the biggest feedback was that the music to voice mix was not as good as it could be. I thought it was a decent mix, but hopefully I've done better this time. Please let me know what you think. Along with this, people suggested a better mic and a quieter recording space. At the moment, I am just working with what I have, but I am using a different mic this time, so please let me know what you think. As for recording space, I don't have a quiet area to record in at the moment, but I am working on it, so hopefully we'll have something soon. Another suggestion along these lines was that I should drop the script and just have notes. I'm just getting started with vlogs and still getting comfortable with it. However, I did attempt to go with just notes, but I really didn't like the way it turned out, so for the moment I'm sticking to scripts. But I will continue to try and improve towards having notes. The last main suggestion was to have more visuals, or to improve the visual aspect. I hope this video is a lot better than that. Again, I was just trying to get out a video. So what have I done in the last couple of weeks? Immediately after the last video, I attempted to have the game on GitHub for file security. I haven't really touched GitHub before, so I didn't know much about it. Long story short, I had some issues and the files ended up corrupting, so I restarted. I managed to get back to where I was within a day. However, for the moment, I don't have a forest anymore. So the forest you see in this video was just from the last devlog. Last time I said I wanted to have the base shields finished, and I wanted to have bows and sneaking in as well. In the 2 weeks since that video, I have completed the shield mechanic to something I'm happy with, and I have started on an inventory system so that I can work towards adding bows. For the moment, sneaking will be pushed back until I have some weapon swapping mechanics in the game, and then I will have bows setting up. I'm pretty happy with what I have done since the last video. Do keep in mind that initially I was going to give myself more time between videos as well. So with that out of the way, I want to share a bit more about my game idea. If you remember from the last video, the inspiration comes from Skyrim and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm also drawing inspiration from a game called Avowed and Lens Island, which is another Aussie indie game that has done really well for itself. So the Skyrim aspect that I will be drawing from is the ability to pretty well do whatever you like, the amount of lore in the game, and the skill tree. I want the players in my game to feel that they can have their own choices and not to be forced to make one choice over the other. I want the players in my game to feel that they can make their own choices and to not be forced to make one choice. I would also really like to have a fairly lore heavy game. This will take a lot of work, but it's something that I'm really keen to have a big part of my game. I think that lore really builds the sense of grandeur in a world and illustrates that the world is bigger than what you can just see. Lastly, I really like having a skill tree to level up your character. Obviously, I won't be stealing this directly from Skyrim and want to make it my own, but I am planning to have the player level up in a similar way. The inspiration from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is from the core elements to the gameplay, as well as the art style. In Breath of the Wild, you are made aware of the big bad from the very start, and are told that you need to help defeat him. You can do this at any time, however it is best for you to do other things first. This choice is something that I want to attempt to have in my game as well. Breath of the Wild also opted to have simpler enemies that you fight all the same way, rather than having enemies that you need to kill in a specific way, like the rest of the Legend of Zelda game. I will also have enemies that are all similar to defeat. However, I will aim to have bosses that you need, or it is easier to defeat in specific ways. Other than this, I will aim to have a similar art style as well. I really like the art style, but feel that I will definitely need help to achieve it. I've only seen a trailer for Avowed and saw a glimpse of the spells and their engraved weapons. I want to have similar visuals for spells and enchanting. Obviously it'll be a different art style, so it will not look the same, but it'll be a similar idea. Lastly, Lens Island. I really like the art style of Lens Island, and I think it would be a good starting point or middle ground from my current art skills to the very polished Legend of Zelda that I'm trying to achieve. It also went super well on release, and I want to aim to do that as well. But I think every game dev wants that as well. So what's the story that I have for this game? This is what I currently have. It is a work in progress, and it will likely change for most aspects, but anyway, this is the idea. The player will start on the top of a hill or cliff and see a dragon flying and be shot down. The player will see it crash land not too far from where they are. The tutorial will be them getting to the dragon and defending it from the people who have shot it down. The player will learn that when a dragon is killed, it is turned into an egg. Much like a phoenix, dragons will regenerate and hatch when they are ready. The player will also quickly learn that there is a group that aims to control the world by wielding the dragons as weapons. They hunt the dragons to raise them from egg and gain the dragon's trust straight from egg. The player will learn about dragons and about the group hunting them, and will eventually be forced to choose a side. Join the hunters in their self-righteous quest, or help the dragons, the protectors of the world. If you choose the dragons, you will fight an evil dragon that the hunters have already raised themselves. And if you choose the hunters, you will be forced to fight the dragon that you helped save at the very start of the game. The players will be able to make this choice at any time. However, time is running out for the dragons, so if the player takes too long and the player chooses the dragon side, the player will need to help free the already captured dragon eggs. Either side they choose, the raid to retrieve an egg will be a challenge, and there will be a boss battle at the end. Getting an egg from a dragon will involve fighting your way through the heavily defended area, then defeating the dragon so it transforms into the egg. Getting an egg from a hunter will involve attacking the stronghold, also heavily defended, and fighting the stronghold boss, who will have good equipment like enchanted weapons and armor, and be a high level NPC, so will also be a hard fight. The main thing with this is the player isn't anyone special, he's just someone trying to make a difference or trying to help. The main idea is that there are 5 dragons in this world, and they act as rulers over different areas. They are there to keep peace and to guard the land itself. There is also a group that is trying to basically overthrow or control the dragons for their own ends. I haven't fleshed out the motivation for this group, but I want them to be compelling to the player, so it will be a hard choice for most players. Also, I know that choice elements in large games like this take a lot of work, so this may be benched completely. So yeah, that's basically the gist of the story. Let me know if you'd like me to do videos on the dragons and races and that sort of stuff later on. It wouldn't be for a long while, but if you're interested, please let me know in the comments. My major focus for the game is that it's open world and it has to feel large. I want there to be a focus on exploration and finding little collectibles around the world that give pieces of lore for the player. I also want to focus on character leveling and a skill tree, as I said before. I aim to create a smaller version or demo and then build the game up from that. In this demo, I will aim to have one city and an area to explore outside, and a very basic leveling system with some basic skills. I mentioned magic earlier when talking about Avowed. I do want magic in my game, but I won't be aiming to achieve that for the smaller game. I do want to go through it though. Before I get to the magic, what you need to know about this world is that there are 4 races of characters, and each with their own language. Each language aligns with a school of magic. At the moment, the races are human, a frog people, a mushroom people, and a mole people. The player will need to learn a language to speak to some NPCs who only speak one language. To do this, they will need to find items in the game that have a language in them, like a book or a scroll, and then use a skill point to gain understanding of the language. Once they know a language, they can start to learn the school of magic that is aligned to the language. So the language system and the magic system will intertwine in this way. Better their language is, the better their magic will be, and the more they use the magic, the better understanding they will have of the language. Then, on top of that, is the enchanting system. My enchanting system will require the player to inscribe items with runes or words in the magic languages. Like Skyrim's enchanting system, the player will need to learn the enchantment before using it. However, the player will be able to do this through books, notes, or reading inscriptions on items that they find along their journey. And that's currently how the magic system will be working. Alongside that is the weapon system. I plan to have similar types of weapons as Skyrim, mainly one-handed, two-handed shields and bows. However, I want the player to maintain their equipment. The player's equipment will get worn with use, like in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. However, in my game, the player will be able to make repairs so they do not just lose weapons, at least not as often. I do have more plans for the game, however these are the major parts, and I hope that this has given you a better understanding of my game and the world I want to create. Please let me know what your favourite idea is and what you're keen to see happen. So that's it for this devlog. Thank you again for all the support I've received over the last couple of weeks. Please make sure you leave a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and join the Discord. If you would like to help support the game financially, you can also do this through Patreon. Links are in the description. I'm also looking to stream 1 day a week to show what I've been working on, but I feel I need to make improvements to my computer a bit before I can do that well. But if you would be keen for me to just give it a go and see what happens, please let me know in the comments as well. So that is it for me today. A special thank you if you got to the end of this, and I will see you in the next devlog.